Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Daniel Hendrick Experience. Every Sunday at www.danielhendrick.com. We're interviewing famous opera singers from around the world. And I must say, before we go any further, thank you for all of you that subscribed. The little $3 a month that you're helping to keep this podcast going really helps. So I appreciate you liking the podcast and subscribing. It really helps. Well, today, my friends, we have a Grammy Award-winning American mezzo-soprano, Tichina Vaughn. She has established herself as an important presence among the world's leading opera houses, concert halls, and theaters. As an outstanding singing actress, versatile in opera, operetta, musical theater, and jazz, Vaughn has continued to gather both popular and critical acclaim. Miss Vaughn began her operatic career as a member of the Metropolitan Opera's Young Opera program, which has really given birth to so many great opera singers in the world. And after that, she received her bachelor's degree in vocal performance from the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. Well, she has had a few decades of career singing all over the world in major opera houses like the Metropolitan Opera, San Francisco Opera, and all over Europe. So I'm really excited that we get to talk to her today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as advertised, the world famous singer Tichina Vaughn is with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor.
And tell the audience where you are today and what you're doing over there.
Well, I am coming to you live today from my very own voice studio here at the Jacobs School of Music at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, where had a full day of teaching. I just finished an opera workshop where I'm staging the duets from Così fan tutte. And yeah, in just a little while, I'll continue on with the teaching day.
Oh my goodness. So how many hours do you teach a day there, generally?
Well, I have 18 students a week. So
Okay.
each day is a little different. Wednesday is actually my more or less my light day, where
Okay.
I only have four on Wednesdays, and then the master class in the evenings on Wednesday evenings. But tomorrow, for example, it also depends on the students and how they're able to, be present, what their schedules are like. So on Thursday is a very heavy day. I think I have about 8 people on Thursday. Yeah,
Wow.
from 9 a.m. I think I finish at about 6:20.
And are those 45-minute lessons or?
No, those are 1 hour lessons.
Wow.
But I have to say, I have some brilliant students that are
Wonderful.
really dedicated to learning this craft. I mean, they keep me on my toes because they really want to know. They go and practice and they come back, and I'm like, whoo, I got to get new exercise.
So, um, just to find out a little bit about you, I kind of researched you and stalked you a little bit on the internet. You were born in Baltimore, is that right?
I was. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland at Johns Hopkins Hospital. But I was raised in North Carolina. So I was only born in Baltimore because my mother was there, during the pregnancy, and she gave birth there. But once I was considered happy and healthy, we came back to our hometown, which is her hometown of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay. Thus the little tinge of an accent I hear in there.
It's
Not
still there. I'm still a Southern girl. I'm
that is
still a grit.
that's beautiful. So, did you grow up singing in the church or in elementary school, or how did that all start for you?
Yep, all of that. So I basically started in at church with my great grandmother. Used to take us to church every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, but and yeah, apparently, according to my family, I was always singing. And so when I was about 6 years old, I got baptized and joined the Tots choir, it was called, and started singing,
Wow.
Jesus loves me, yes, I know. And, apparently very loudly, according to my friends. And then I continued on, I did several, it was a Baptist church. So I was like in the Baptist training union. I was on the missionary board or part of the missionary board and junior missionary and all this kind of stuff. And then I joined the junior choir. Yes. But I say my first real performing experience came at my mother's living room because apparently I had this quite interesting voice as a youngster that people like to hear. But at the time, I was singing in her living room, Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, Nancy
Mm.
Wilson. These were the records that she played that I heard in my household, and I would sing, sing what they sang. And she would, when she had birthday parties, Christmas parties, Thanksgiving party, I always had, whenever it was an event at the house, it was sometime when I had to come down with my fake hairbrush, with my hairbrush microphone,
Oh my
and sing
God.
something for the family. So I like to say that's where it really first began.
How beautiful. So growing up, that was really kind of your first vocal influence was that
Really.
that
Yeah.
genre of music, which
Yeah.
by the way, the vocals are so free and I was telling you before we started about me losing my voice. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things, because I was going to opera teachers and nobody was helping me, is I started studying the gospel singers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the singers like Aretha and Etta
Yeah.
James, what are they doing? How is that
Yeah.
so fluent?
Yeah.
Because the riffs that they did are so similar to runs in opera,
It's
but
true.
there's such a fluency there, and
Yeah.
I really learned a lot about letting the natural instrument appear. Did you
Exactly.
did you find that kind of training in the church and listening to Aretha, etc., help you in your opera career?
I do believe that it let me come to studying classical voice and opera with already this mentality of freedom in singing,
Mm.
which I try to reinforce, for example, when I'm trying to teach in singing, that a lot of what inhibits people from achieving, in my opinion, the results that they're seeking when they're studying is the fact that they think they're studying, and they're thinking and thinking and thinking. This is what you do when you study. Whereas, in my opinion, the voice is a physiological, natural instrument that we rarely, for example, while we're sitting here conversating, I haven't one time thought about the pitch, timbre, duration, of
Breath
one
support.
utterance, yeah, of one utterance at all. And technically speaking, what I would like to think that I try to give to my students is this sense of freedom in singing, and this sense of training the instrument so that it then gives you a more natural and organic reaction to the stimuli that you present. So you don't have to think, I'm studying, I'm singing, I'm studying, I'm singing. You can think, I'm expressing, I'm uttering, I'm opening, I'm sharing. Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to come to you for a lesson. that that is a fantastic explanation, and that should be our foundation of it all right there, right?
Thank you. I think I was just very blessed, very fortunate to have a teacher who started me out on that path. And I've always, for the last almost maybe more than 30 years, that has been my goal, to seek my freedom and pass it on.
So have you found someone who within their consciousness felt like they were singing free as they could be, but let's say it's a tenor, they're a tenor, but they don't have high notes.
Yeah,
High
yeah.
note. Have you found that and then been able to help break through to them how to be
Yes,
able
just
to?
this morning.
Oh, tell us about that.
Just this morning, I was working with a student and we found, was it an F below and B, a B on top? in the tenor voice, which we had not explored before. And I mean, I should not give away all of our trade secrets,
Sure.
but I am not opposed to being extremely physical in the sense of, let me preface that because it's a university situation.
I understand.
In the sense of, I believe singing to be much more related to athletics
Yes.
than not, let's say. And so I like to get athletically physical if necessary in the studio in order to achieve the result that we're looking for. So, for example, today we wanted to. I sometimes I call the space our vocal laboratory. We'll try experiments,
Yes.
and so today we did an experiment with one of my tenors where I asked him to downhill ski.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
he was getting very sort of locked here when he was trying to get to the top, so he couldn't get there. So I asked him to just move his arms as if he had ski poles and move his body, in this sort of way, and we were able to access it. We didn't play around too much up there, but we were able to access good quality sound up there. And I told him, we'll continue to open that up and work on it.
Wow. Great, great example. Yeah, I have done that with students too when they seem to be locked. And I have made them just walk around the room because they're so used to standing in one place, right?
Yeah, yeah, just
And
focusing on that.
no,
Yeah.
and
No, I
opera's not
had to
like
go
that.
riding horses. And last night I had a student in who she was singing I Could Have Danced All Night,
Sure.
but she was not, she didn't have a bit of the dance in. So I just grabbed her and we start rolling around the studio waltzing, and her
Right.
eyes are as big as houses. But I was like,
Right.
now every time you practice, it's in the practice room. I want you to think about breathing and dancing,
That's right. Because it
Yeah,
has to be a complete organic system working. And that's why it's so
exactly.
similar to athletics, right?
That's what I think. Those are my opinions
Yeah.
as well.
It's like the baseball batter getting up to the plate. If he's thinking so technical about where's my arm, where's my leg, then
Exactly.
you're going to
Yeah.
miss the ball.
Yeah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really has to be, from a neuroscience perspective, a bilateral function of the brain. And I
Yeah.
think what we learn in the church, I was raised Pentecostal.
Okay.
So, I was used to really free stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we used to do what they call the Song of the Lord, where it was basically improv. And we'd be
Yeah.
going for like an hour just
Oh,
singing
yeah. Yeah.
whatever came. And then I learned many years later that that's a totally different part of your brain starting to work. And
Okay.
for
Yeah.
me, when I was on stage, that's the side that I
But you
wanted.
shut down.
Yeah, that's the side I wanted to use, was that
Yeah.
free side.
Yeah.
And I think it was Cheryl Milnes that said, "In my most dramatic moment, am I the most relaxed and released?"
Yeah. Must be. It must
Right.
be. Yeah. Yeah. I agree completely.
Now
Yeah.
you possess a really big instrument, and I know that most of what it says online about you is that you're a mezzo, but there are some other things that refer to as a dramatic soprano.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of those things that I also have to give credit to my very first voice teacher about, because people did say, and it happens. So I have students who, some people want to sort of brand the same way, in the sense that they must be a mezzo, or they must be a soprano, or they must be a contralto, or whatever the case is. But I don't think anything in all of creation is always anything, in my opinion.
Amen.
I mean,
It's
I
not that
really,
linear.
no, it's just not that, nobody's experience, no less beings experience, let's say, bumblebee, or whatever. A flower is one day a flower and the next day it's fertilizer. A cup is one day a cup and the next day it's, something that saves somebody's life. So why must a mezzo always be a mezzo, soprano always be a soprano, tenor always be a tenor? I had a very wise teacher who, when people would tell, because there was always this debate, is she a mezzo? Is she a dramatic soprano? Because I had high notes.
Yes.
I had an upper range. However, he was very wise, and he would just say, it doesn't matter if she doesn't sing well. How about I'm just going to teach her to sing well, and then she can sing what she sings well, so that's how that came to be.
That is refreshing. And
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
what I see guys like, I think his name is Michael Spires, the tenor that is a bari tenor. He's
yeah,
actually performing baritone roles, but
yeah,
then he's performing the Juan Diego Flores roles as well, the
yeah,
super high Bellini. And
yeah.
he's like, it's just one instrument. And I'm like,
It's just
so,
one instrument. I believe that about the genres as well,
uh
you
huh.
know, that when, some, not all of my singers, not all of my students are necessarily wanting to, all the sopranos don't want to be Gilda. Some of them actually want to be the Little Mermaid, you know.
True.
And I don't have a problem with that because
Yes.
singing is singing, instruments are instruments. They all need
Mm.
supporting and
Mm-hmm.
they all need expression, you know.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow. And you have gone such a variety of styles. You've done
I
jazz
have.
music. You even
Yeah.
sang, I think, Porgy and Bess at the Met. Is that
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you've done Aida. Those are
Yeah.
pretty big jumps.
Yeah. 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 I think that's grace. I just have a lot of grace on my instrument,
Mm,
To be honest, not all instruments will have that sort of facility.
yes.
And that's the other thing that I try to teach is that to make an honest evaluation of the instrument you're gifted with.
Yes.
And really know its expansions and its what its let's say diminishments are. And I don't mine is just gifted that way. Yeah, I still do jazz. I still do musical theater. I still like to sing at church, and I still love to be
Mm,
Azucena. So yeah,
isn't that wonderful?
yeah.
Have you ever found performing in opera in those intense moments that it almost feels like church?
It can, it can, specifically in Wagner and Verdi. For me.
Mm,
Sometimes Strauss too. I really do feel, there's this these German words like heilige Kunst, which means holy art, or holde Kunst, which means treasured art, which I really do feel there are certain pieces, certain composers, certain works that really fit that bill. It's just
mm,
such a privilege and an honor to be able to do them for whatever reason. You can't look at the structure of the music and find it. You can't look at the text. You don't know, but all the components come together to create this experience, for
mm.
you and for your public at that moment. That is something akin to a religious feeling moment.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I love those moments. I lived for those moments.
Me too. Me too. They're too few and far between some days these days, right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Wow. So, growing up, who was the first operatic voice that you really kind of were attracted to?
Leontine Price.
Oh my God.
Of course. Of course. And you know where it was. I mean, if I'm honest, it was between episodes of Good Times when she sang the United Negro College Fund. We're not
Okay.
asking for a handout, just you know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that was the first that I knew anything about opera or about classical voice. And even then, that was not for my personal experience, that was just being aware of it. Um, and I didn't start to get to know the music nor the works until my first year of university, which was actually at Georgia State, because I ended
Wow.
up going to a sort of, they called it the Fame of the South. The show Fame was on, and it was about LaGuardia
Okay.
performing arts. Well, I went to its, I say, equivalent in Atlanta, which was the Northside High School for Performing Arts. And there, though, we just did the Wiz and Pippin, and the closest we got to actual classical music was Bernstein's Mass. And I
Mm.
think my senior year we did Carmina Burana as a big force with the Atlanta Symphony type thing. But it was the director of that school who put me on my path, who in no uncertain terms said, "You will be an opera singer," and
Wow.
helped me to get auditions for scholarships and into Georgia State. And it was there when they accepted me and offered me my scholarship that they said, I said, "I've never seen an opera." And they said, "Well, we're doing the medium tonight. Would you like a ticket?" It ended
Wow.
up that my first opera that I ever saw was the medium, a student production. But, for me, it was, whoa, take the paint off the walls.
Right.
And then I was hooked. Yeah.
How fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
That is really amazing. Well, I'm just going to pause for a moment here
Okay.
and tell you that I have a recording of you singing Odan Fatale.
Oh my gosh.
Would that be okay to play on the podcast?
Yeah. Which is it? Is it
It's
one in a
it's
black dress?
this. Yes, that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That one's fine.
And it's just a segment of it, just so that I can let the
And that
public.
is the great Sylvia Oden Lee.
Are you kidding me?
That is Sylvia Lee at the piano.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna.
I don't know if you know her story.
I don't know her story, but I know about her. But maybe you
Yeah.
could like give a little intro to that.
Yeah. Well, Sylvia is was
Yeah. Let me just set it up for you, though. Okay.
okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear a performance of Tichina singing O Don Fatale from Don Carlos. Can you set this up for us? What's this all about?
Yes, that is in Philadelphia many years ago. It must be nearly 30 years ago, with the great Sylvia Oden Lee, who was a proponent of classical music and the spiritual, particularly. If I'm not mistaken, she even arranged some of those spirituals for that great concert with Jesse Norman and Kathy Battle
Mm.
that we had at Carnegie Hall. But more than that, now I've forgotten. She was the wife of a very famous singer, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, you
Mm.
need to look up her history. Sylvia Oden Lee from
Okay.
Philadelphia, really.
And she's playing this for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Bam.
Thank
Wow.
you. That was my first
Wow.
Eboli. I was getting ready for my first Eboli, which was in French,
Hmm.
which I prefer, by the way, um, in French and in Seattle.
Wow.
Hmm.
And what was that like when you did that first performance there?
Terrifying. I hadn't done it yet, the role. I don't think, or had I? Maybe I had just done the run. In every case, I still, it was very young. I was still very young then, and it was, that was the equivalent of pulling out my big guns.
Yes. Right, right. Sure. Well,
And so, when you're young, you're always nervous about those occasions.
well, watching you in that video, and folks, you'll be able to see it on YouTube later, but it looks so organically produced. In other words, your body, the way your body is supporting your voice, seemed to
Yeah,
be intricate to the way you were singing. Do you feel that
that's my
way?
team. That's how I was trained. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Organic. That's
And
a beautiful.
then it seemed like that helped create the spinning, spinning, spinning tone that you had all the
Yeah,
way up and
yeah,
down.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the way you modulate down into chest and up, you tell me if this is what I'm hearing, because it never sounds like you're 100% chest. It sounds like there's always a mixture there. Is that how you feel, or?
Yes, I think that extreme high falsetto and extreme breast, what do you call it, chest sounds are for decoration.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't feel they're for everyday use.
Good for
And
you.
And
Wow.
when you have to in a piece like that where you need to keep stretching as much as you can all the time. Remember, that's only 1/4 of a roll.
Yeah.
If you're doing you have a whole night. No, you don't want to. You know, I think I took that actually from the great mezzo soprano Christa Ludwig,
Mm.
because I went to study my Wagner roles with her. And there's only two places, for example, I think in the whole of the Götterdämmerung Waltraute, she actually marked some things in my score. And there's only two times when she wrote Brust. Everything else, stay atop.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
So
And
that's just my concept. Yeah.
and how closely aligned was your natural instrument to what you learned operatically?
Well, I think, I often say, I mean, there is no way to give someone an instrument.
Hmm.
You know, nobody walks in here with, let's say an instrument that won't phonate, that anything I can do will make phonate.
Yes, yes.
So I think I always had the instrument. I mean, like I said, I was already singing many performances a year in high school because we had a touring company. And it was one of those, like I said, it was Performing Arts High School, and it was sponsored by the Coca-Cola Company.
Wow.
And so we would do various, yeah, performances each school year. After school, you get on the bus and the van, and we had an orchestra and a design and production team and the stage set and costumes and everything. So I had been singing for a long time. By the time I came to university and started studying with the teacher that taught me. So let's say the voice was there and it was organic, but it wasn't able to do exactly what I could do there with classical sounds,
Mm.
because I had not discovered, I think, the connection of the physicality
Mm-hmm.
of what it means appoggia support,
Mm.
this action of the diaphragm, which is always acting. Even when I was singing pop music, obviously it was acting and reacting, but in different, obviously it's different. It's like I say to my students, a swimmer and a skier may have some similar exercises. Everybody's doing some leg lifts, but there's some things that get specific.
Yes.
And so I feel like that, as let's say a pop singer, a rock and roll singer, a gospel singer, and a classical singer and a pop singer will have some exercises that are general. Everybody does them. They're all
Yes.
singing athletes, I like to call it.
Hmm.
But there will at a time come some that are specific to that genre, to making the
Excellent.
desired result happen in that genre.
Yeah. And do you find that if you're going to be an opera singer, you have to be using your body a little bit more than
Differently,
pop?
definitely, differently,
Differently.
differently,
Okay.
differently. But I like to point out that if you ever watched a great singer like Patti LaBelle or Whitney Houston or Barbara Streisand or any of those,
Yeah,
at
sure.
some point you will find them with their microphone in this position.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah, I was just watching Etta James the other
Right?
day. Something's
Right?
got a hold on me. And she's always got this
Right?
pull
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
lift
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
lifting the throat, but
No, no, no.
this.
But freeing the cervical spine. Yeah. My
Yes.
favorite was Nancy Wilson.
Ah, okay.
Watch her sing sometime.
So Etta did a lot of the vocal fry stuff. The wow that. Did you ever do that when you were singing
You
your?
mean say it again?
Etta James did a lot of the vocal fry thing. This sound. Wow, wow, wow. Like
Oh, like like that. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah, once I did Ain't Misbehaving, I used that.
Okay.
But it wasn't after Etta, it was after Nell Carter.
Okay.
I
Well,
was imitating Nell Carter.
James Brown did it all the time too. Is that
Of course, yeah.
wow, wow, I feel good.
Yes, but you either have to know what you're doing with that or don't do it if you want to continue singing.
Exactly, because
You-
if your throat gets tight when you do that, you're going to be in
yeah,
trouble.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's a way to do it. Yeah, yeah,
Very fascinating.
yes.
Well, young lady, you have blessed the world for a few decades here. And
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for coming on today. I know it was a stretch for you with your busy schedule.
No
It,
worries. I'm so happy.
are there any last remarks that you could give to young singers coming up, like the to dos or not to dos?
Well, the biggest to do is, first of all, to never compare yourself to your classmates, colleagues, whatever. You can only be, if you want to be anything better, it can only be a better you than you were yesterday. And that's about it.
Hmm.
If you want to, be better than anything, just sing it better than you sang it yesterday, And second of all, don't give up. So many people, I've seen it along the way. Just I had somebody ask me at a recent thing, like, well, I'm doing my doctorate now, and I mean, I'm thinking of giving it 2 more years, and then I'm gonna, and my answer is, and I don't mean it in any kind of, cruel way, but I feel like if you can, then you probably should, because I mean, if you can find joy in banking, there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's a certain drive that you need to sustain yourself through the ups and downs of a career like this. That, even, and that's not to say that you may not have to wait tables for a year or so, but that's not the same as I'm giving it up.
Exactly.
I'm finding a way to sustain myself so I can find the next level of getting into it. So that's why I say don't give up.
Amen to that. Yeah, and your point about if you're thinking about giving up, perhaps you don't have that fire, like
Well,
Rocky
they
Balboa
say,
said.
for example, they say if there's infidelity in a relationship, like one of the partners know,
Hmm.
they haven't been told. Nobody, but they found the note, but they put it off, and they just don't want to, whatever. It's like something is, these things are or not really. So sometimes if it's ruminating in your consciousness, pay it some attention, decide, make a decision, and either keep on pushing or go work for the bank.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of wisdom for such a young lady. I'm telling you. Now that I'm 65, I get to say those things, right?
Oh, wow. You look great for 65. I wouldn't
Thank
have thought
you.
that.
I'm
Yay.
officially a senior citizen, retired opera singer now. So there
Oh
you
my
go.
gosh. That must, but I have some friends who tell me retirement is underrated.
It's the best move I made, you know.
I love it. I love it.
You know,
Something for me to look forward to.
there you go. I had throughout the career that I did have, I also had fibromyalgia. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Oh, yeah.
and man, traveling, it was just because your body would get inflammation, and then as your
Yeah.
body is inflamed, the cords are inflamed,
Yeah, you
and
poor thing.
it kind of reminds me of what a lot of female singers have to go through when that
Yeah.
time of month comes along and
Right? Swelling.
inflammation is coming
Yeah.
and excess water and the cords are thicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
these are the things that I like to talk about in my book about
Yeah.
about not giving up, persevering, even when everybody else is telling you to give up. And folks, you can find this on my website,
Yay.
danielhendrick.com. And also support the podcast while you're there. Become a subscriber. It's only $3 a month. But anyhow, Tichina, you are absolutely adorable. You're beautiful. You're
Thank
in it.
you.
Your voice is just unbelievably well put together, gorgeous, beautiful, flawless.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I've been so inspired by your story, by the way. And thank you
Oh,
so much for putting all this together and putting it out in the world. We need more lights. So I'm
yeah.
so grateful to meet one.
Thank
And
you.
I wish you the best. And it's been such an honor to chat with you today.
Thank you so much. God bless. And folks, God bless. Thanks for being here on the Daniel Hendrick Experience. Wake up.